Hello everyone, welcome back. So last time we did a little scenario to try out the new Constellation class frigate, and it didn't really go so well. But I also did quite a bit of trash talking about the German frigates, and I thought to myself, why not try them out in the same scenario and see how they would do. So yeah, that's basically what we're gonna do today. So let's do a quick recap how the scenario works. We're located here at the Bashi channel between Taiwan and the Philippines, and we have lots of civilian traffic going through the canal. There's a total of 5 Chinese submarines over here that will try to move through the channel undetected. 2 of them are diesel-electric subs and 3 of them are nuclear subs. Our little task force has to find and kill the subs before they can make it through. At around 2200 hours Zulu, which is 22 hours after a scenario starts, a group of 12 J-15 Flying Sharks will take off from this carrier group over here and attack the task force. They're armed with YJ-83 anti-ship missiles, a range of over 100 nautical miles, subsonic, so basically equivalent to a harpoon missile. Each of the jet carries 2 missiles, so we have a total number of missiles of 24. So not terribly difficult to defend against, but we need a little bit of capable air defense to be able to survive it. This is basically the point. Alright, now let's see what we have in the German corner. So just like last time, we're gonna be using 3 ships. The first of which, of course, is going to be the newest and most modern German frigate, and that is the Type F125, the Baden-Würtemberg class. So the first frigate of that class was commissioned in 2019. It's a pretty big frigate, like on the upper end of the spectrum, with about 7.2 thousand tons displacement. And it is sometimes referred to as a low-intensity operations ship. And it overall contains a couple of design decisions that cause some ridicule every now and then. One of those definitely is the fact that it doesn't have a VLS system, so it doesn't carry any SM2s or ESSMs or whatnot. It has 2 CRAM launchers, one in the front, one in the back, so it has 360-degree coverage, which is a concept I can totally get behind. And it also basically has an artillery cannon. So in this case, the gun faction apparently won the requirements game. In the end, it's not all bad. It does have 2 quad launchers for harpoon missiles, which is nice. It does carry 2 helicopters, in fact, which is a pretty interesting concept, because when it comes to helicopters, 2 is very oftentimes more than 1, but in this case, they are supposed to be NH90, which at least in the game do not have a anti-submarine loadout. They are purely troop transports and cargo lifters, essentially. The whole package, when you take a look at it, it has a lot of, it shares a lot of features with something that you would expect on a amphibious assault ship or something. It also has apparently a dock for small boats and stuff like that. It can carry a lot of personnel, and it can carry multiple cargo helicopters. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. The second frigate that we're going to be bringing is a Brandenburg class, the Type F123. This one is a little bit older. The first one was commissioned, I think, in the mid-90s. And this thing is actually supposed to be a dedicated anti-submarine warfare frigate. So exactly what we need for this scenario. So one thing I didn't know is that even the Brandenburgs, which are pretty old, they actually do have a Mark 41 VLS system. It has 16 cells, but for at least at this point, it seems to only load the OG Sea Sparrow, so not ESSM, but the predecessor. And those, of course, cannot be quad-packed. And it seems like the VLS system is actually hidden behind this screen over here. And yeah, I've actually never saw it and thought they didn't even have one. So yeah, Sea Sparrows they're okay missiles, absolutely. Like having 16 Sea Sparrows is better than nothing, and I'm pretty sure they're gonna pay dividends for this one. On top of that, they also have 2 CRAM launchers, one in the front, one in the back. Again, this makes a lot of practical sense. Also, the Brandenburg supposedly have 2 Sea-Lynx helicopters for anti-submarine warfare. Again, I'm not entirely sure if that's true. It seems like a lot of helicopters for a frigate, but yeah, maybe this is how you deal with a 50% readiness rate. Who knows? In this case, we'll assume that it has 1 Sea-Lynx ready to go. For the Baden-Württemberg, we just loaded with 2 Sea-Lynx because the NH90s, they don't really serve a purpose in this case. We will just assume that we have Sea-Lynxes instead, and we will have 2 of them, which will make this an interesting platform just to bring helicopters to the fight, essentially. Also note that the Sea-Lynx actually doesn't have any sonar buoys. Just pointing that out. And then on top of that, we'll bring a submarine, type 212. So the Germans actually have some pretty good submarines. Diesel-electric submarines, that is. In this case, I mean, unfortunately, they're just too slow. We'll just use it the same way we did the Soyu. We'll just put it over here as a mine, more or less. I mean, that's basically what the diesel sub is in this case. It can't really move much, but it's difficult to spot, and if you step on it, then you get blown into a million pieces. Alright, one more thing, we actually switched out the Poseidon with an Orion, which is what the Germans have in their Marineflieger, and it has some sonar buoys and it has torpedoes. Please note that, of course, the Orion will have less endurance, and it will also, the sonar buoys, they run out of power much faster. So we will not have as much sonar buoy coverage this time. Alright, everything set, time to start. So I'm probably gonna boil this down a little bit to highlight reel. We're just gonna move everything more or less the same position as last time. We will make a mission for our maritime patrol aircraft to drop us some buoys. Let's see. Fortunately, like the German subs, they can go a little bit faster than what we had last time, I think, but still, it's diesel subs are just slow. Let's put it like that. So you guys, you should move into position. Can move at full speed for this. Yeah, and then I'm just gonna set up the maritime patrol aircraft, and yeah, let's see how far we can get, and if we can net ourselves some submarines. So, is this thing not? So it looks like the Baden-Württemberg doesn't have. It doesn't seem to have passive sonar. Neither does it have any active, passive. Let me cross-check that real quick. Yeah, it looks like the Baden-Württemberg doesn't have sonar. That is, I don't know what to say. That is just not good. Okay, I think we might have to reconsider our strategy here. So I guess what we're going to do is we will link up these 2 ships and we will form a little fleet. and we're basically going to use the Baden-Württemberg as something of a bullet sponge and missile turret and helicopter launch pad. Okay, so we'll position them a couple of 100 meters apart. Let's see, we want the Brandenburg to be our lead ship. And then what we're probably going to do is we're probably going to set up a little bit of a helicopter screen, since we have a couple of helicopters to spare. So just gonna pop down some reference point over here, make them relative with rotating bearing to our group 4413. I can probably rename that into Task Force German. So we'll keep one helicopter on station, and this mission we will relegate, or the Lynxes on the Baden-Württemberg will do this mission, and we'll have the Lynx on the Brandenburg as a helicopter, or like as a response team when we actually do spot a submarine, which so far we haven't. So yeah. So with this setup, I think it makes sense to continue on our search. Yeah, so the problem that we're gonna run into is right now the Orion still has multiple hours, like 3 hours till it can head out again, and our sonar buoys are already running out of power. So in a minute we're gonna be out of coverage here, and then yeah, we'll probably have to ping a little bit with the sonar, see if we can find anything. That of course will make us visible to any subs in the area on about 3 times the distance that we can see them. But yeah, it is what it is. So far we haven't gotten any contacts, so I hope we can still catch one, because they might be, some of them will already be through the area, I'm pretty sure, but yeah. Finally, we do get a contact. Let's see what this is. Okay, first of all, this is a little bit close to us. Just be careful with the time, so we don't... This is very close to us. Let's go down to normal speed, and we'll just immediately switch on our sonars. Yes, this is a hostile submarine, and it is very close to us. It's 8 nautical miles. That is way too close. We are now going to just move to flank speed and get the hell out of here. We will also launch our reserve Lynx. So the ships are turning around, and our Lynx, go and kill the sub, please. Thank you. We still don't really know what it is. It's moving at 15 knots. That implies that it is probably an SSN, because diesel subs will not be moving at that speed. So we got the contact 4 minutes ago, and it's moving at 15 knots. So it will be over here in an hour. Yeah, it could have moved a little bit. So assuming that it hasn't changed position, or like it hasn't changed direction, we'll move the Lynx over here to do its first sonar. run, and yeah, we'll see if we can reacquire it. Oh, and we got it immediately, and torpedo is on the way. That is actually our only torpedo, so let's hope this was a good shot. A little bit trigger happy there. It still seems to be in a search pattern. Oh, now it has changed. So it has acquired something. That's likely gonna... Uh-oh. That is a very bad sound. There are torpedoes in the water. So we have to move like at maximum speed. Okay, first of all, can we finish off this sub? Enemy torpedoes are over here. So in this case, we'll have to just run as fast as we can. The torpedoes will probably be moving at like 35 knots or something. It has fired them at pretty far distance. Yeah, 5 nautical miles. And the Baden-Würtemberg is kind of falling behind here with 26 knots. Phew. A single torpedo hit will mean the end of one of our ships, so have to hope that we can stay away from them. Also, can you please murder this up for me? Thank you. The helicopter can probably just return to home. The Orion will have to do the shooting. You can see here, like, I mean, this thing is moving at 30 knots now. That's crazy fast for a submarine. This is even going to be a challenge for our torpedoes to keep up with. So what we're going to do is probably we'll shoot one torpedo right after it, and then we will try to give it another one from, like, right from the front. Torpedoes are 3 nautical miles out. Let's see if we can maybe like acquire them with sonar. But they're now in defensive mode, so they'll not listen to my orders anymore until the threat has disappeared. So we'll make one pass over here and probably shoot at least one torpedo. I mean, we have 8. We should probably shoot 2. Okay, I think this is fine. We will fire one torpedo in this direction and one in this direction. So if it wants to keep following the ships, which it totally can, like with that speed, it could catch up to the Baden-Württemberg. But in this case, if it tries to do that, it will run headlong into one of our torpedoes, which is unhealthy. There we go. And then we're just gonna do another pass and see what the situation is at that point. And then we may or may not continue firing torpedoes at it. As a matter of fact, we should probably get into a position to basically fire the defensive torpedoes. So to discourage it from following the ships. Do we have any? No, they're like more than an hour. Like they will not survive an hour if we can't get the whole handle on this sub. Let's see. Let's speed it up a little bit. Our torpedoes seem to have acquired something. They are diving. Yes, they're diving fairly. That looks really good. I think this one can make. This one can connect. Let's see. Bang! And we got it. Whew. Okay, so what about, can we get out of this without losing any of our ships? So torpedoes are more or less, yeah, they're more or less on top of the Baden-Württemberg right now. I mean, we can't really see them very well because they're moving like behind us and we don't have any sonar source over here. Guess we just have to cross our fingers and hope that the torpedoes run out of power before they catch up. If they do catch up, then, well, it's probably enough low-intensity operations for one day to get this thing to the seafloor. Yes, yes. Oh, damn, we got one. We got hit. Okay, that's one of them. Yes, both of them hit. And that's it for the Baden-Württemberg. Whew. Okay. Yeah, that's the problem if you go hunting submarines. You really do not want to get close to them, because if you get in torpedo range, you're pretty much screwed. Okay, here they come. So, let's see how well the Brandenburg can defend against 24's YJ-83s. So, we still have our 16 Sea Sparrows. We have two fully loaded ram launchers. This should actually be doable. So, let's see how it goes. Should probably launch their missiles in a moment. There they are. So that's a pretty sizable swarm over here. Looks like 2, 4, 6, 8 missiles. Alright. And here come the Sea Sparrows. Also, this thing should start going defensive. Come on, flank speed. Don't just sit there. Okay, we already caught a couple of them. Six nautical miles out. At 5 nautical miles, the rams should really start doing their magic. Yes, here they come. We are shooting the rams. Also pretty much last-ditch defense, because if we can't catch them in the first salvo, then there's barely enough time to launch a second one. This is going in real time right now. Okay, so we actually missed one, this one here. It's still very much in flight. And we're launching another ram. This one has to hit now, otherwise we're screwed. And it did. So successfully defended. And here comes the second salvo. Seems to be roughly 8 again. Sea Sparrows are doing their magic. That seems to be the last 2 that we have, and we got a hit. So that means there is still a whole bunch of missiles inbound. And there's more missiles coming over here. This is gonna be all ram. Yes. 1 missile for each target and every missile hit. Okay, next salvo is still a couple of miles out. We'll just speed it up a little bit. Oh, look at that. It still has a few sparrows. This is the last 4 though, so... Oops. Yes. Yeah, but we seem to be fine. Okay, let's see if there are going to be any more missiles. Doesn't look like it. So we actually survived the strike. Very nice. And we got a contact. Let's see, where is it? Oh, it's over here. So, okay. Do we still have some fuel on the Orion? Yes, and we also have some more sonar buoys. So we'll just extend this one, like the patrol area a little bit, and see if we can't... Oh, this is a little bit close. This is very close. Much too close. So we'll dive a little bit. See if we might be able to get a better fix. Right now we're fully passive. If we start our active sonar right now, we'll have torpedoes on us immediately. So I guess the best decision actually is to... Actually, we're just gonna dive as much as we can in the hope that maybe he doesn't even realize that we're here. And we'll have the Orion to finish the job. Because we really don't want him to see us. And for the moment, with the diesel sub, you actually don't make any noise at all when you're standing still. So there's a good chance that we're still undetected. Let's see if we can reacquire it. Yeah, so the Orion is not really doing what we want. So we've sent our little helicopter over here. We don't have much fuel though. So the hope is, I mean, it's been 60 minutes since we detected it. If it's a nuclear sub, it could be over here by now, at which point we'll probably have missed it. Let's see if we can maybe reacquire it. Yeah, so at the moment it doesn't look like we're having success with this strategy. I guess we don't have any other choice but to try to find it with the submarine, which is not ideal, but we'll see. Maybe we can survive this. So for now I'm just gonna bring it up to shallow depth and see if we can maybe hear something. If we can't... Oh, there we go. We got it. So we reacquired it over here. But as you can see, the torpedoes are fired roughly like in this area. And they have sonar, so they would be able to acquire the sub if they run into it. At the same time, it's totally possible that we're now having torpedoes going in our direction as well. Is that a search pattern? No, they're just turning around. This seems to be a search pattern of some kind. So apparently they don't know exactly where the target is. That's a bummer. We still have a little bit of fuel left on our helicopter, so maybe we'll have a chance to reacquire. By now it's been 11 minutes since we acquired the sub, so I guess we can slowly try to actually get our own sub in position. And we might have to... look at that. So it's somewhere in this direction. Yes, that's looking pretty good. There, we have a fix. And it's coming right towards us. No, don't want any of that. Okay, the fate of this one should be sealed by this point. We have 2 torpedoes with enough juice left, and yeah, that's probably gonna be over for this. Game over for this one. Smack. And we have a huge explosion, and yes, that should be it. Question is, are there any torpedoes launched against us? We shall find out in a moment when we do some sonar. No, it doesn't seem that way. So our U-31 actually stayed undetected for the whole engagement, had no torpedoes fired at it, and yeah, pretty good, I have to admit. Would you look at that? It seems like we still have hunting season. There's a contact over here. It's pretty far out of the way though. Let's see if we can maybe grab that. We have fuel on the... a little bit of fuel we still have left on the Orion. Let's see if we can get it over here. Do we still have buoys? No, we don't. Ah, look, there it is. We don't really know what it is, but the buoys might be able to identify it. Let's see. What's the time on the helicopter? 3 hours. Okay, if we move... we don't even have a direction at this point. Let's see if we maybe get more data. Move in the general direction. If once we get a heading, then we can extrapolate the position that it's going to be at. Yes, we got a heading. So it's heading in this direction, 5 knots. That is very likely a diesel sub. So in 1 hour it's going to be around here. This guy is moving at 25 knots. That means we need 2 hours to get, so about over here. But our helicopter is not going to be ready at that time. Let's hope that we can just solve this issue with the Orion. At this point, we'll just let the Orion do what it wants. It should be able to engage and kill the submarine before it runs out of fuel. There we go. And smack. That's another one scratched off the list. So we're past 1200 hours Zulu at this point, and that means we can probably close out the scenarios, and because anything that we haven't found by this point will probably have slipped past, and yeah, time for the final tally. So just to bring the scoreboard up really quick, as you can see here, we caught 2 diesel subs and 1 of the nuclear subs. Okay, let's start with the good things. Brandenburg did pretty good air defense work, only has the older Sea Sparrows, which can't be quad-packed, and some ram launchers, but a strike like the one that we saw here is something a frigate should be able to defend against, and it did successfully, so I would say this is totally adequate. With the Baden-Würtemberg, I just don't know what to say about this thing. I mean, it doesn't have a VLS system. It doesn't even have sonar. Sure, it has lots of hangar space, but the 2 helicopters on board wouldn't even have been anti-submarine capable if we hadn't switched them out for sea lynxes. Sure, in this case, we kind of got jumped by a sub, and sure, once torpedoes are in the water, all you can really do is run. But then this thing apparently at flank speed can make about 26 knots, so any torpedo is going to be faster. Even the nuclear sub that found us was like submerged, was faster than this thing at flank speed. So, I mean, yeah, I don't know what to say. It's yeah, I guess we should just leave it at that. Hope you found this one interesting, and see you in the next one.